On today's episode, I revisit the topic of the 90s one-hit wonders with listener Drew Zakmin, and we quiz each other on 20 new questions on the subject. This is Trivia with Buds. What it be? And welcome to another episode of the Trivia with Buds podcast. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. If you're listening to this on the day it came out, hope you're having a great middle of your week. If you like pop culture, this is the show for you, and we put it out every single day. Back in July, I think it was July 17th, we did an episode on 11 questions from 90s one-hit wonders, and that was just questions I used at a live event and had as a PowerPoint slide on my phone. I read them and put it out as a podcast. And a listener named Drew Zakmin reached out and said he was doing a similar episode for his show and was researching the topic, came across my show, and he digged it. And he said if I ever wanted to do some more trivia on 90s one-hit wonders again, he'd be down. So here we are. Got 20 questions quizzing each other back and forth on the subject of 90s one-hit wonders once again. So hopefully you learn some stuff, you have some fun, and you think about those songs that made you so happy on the radio in the 90s. As silly as some of these songs are, I can totally remember like where I was the first time I heard Barbie Girl by Aqua, or How Bizarre by OMC, or Torn by Natalie Imbruglia, who I used to call Natalie Imbruglia for the longest time, but I don't think you say the G. So I think it's Bruglia. A lot of these were like at mixers. We used to go to these. We had 6th to 8th grade. They'd have mixers at the Crestwood Civic Center in Crestwood, Illinois. You had to have a special yellow membership ID to get in. And it was a couple different schools, but mostly just our school. And they were once a month. And we would go every month from 6th to 8th grade. And our parents were chaperones. And they had a DJ and soda and chips and stuff. And you would dance. But this is like, it was like a lot of slow dancing. It was a lot of like, oh, look, there's somebody from the opposite sex. Let's go dance with them. And it was like, oh, they're my girlfriend. They're my boyfriend. But literally you just danced like twice. And somebody passed you a note in class. And it was official. So I remember doing that quite a bit. And it was a lot of like Spice Girls To Become One. And even back then, I remember like the lyrics. It's like, I want to make love to you, baby. And I'm like, we're in 6th grade slow dancing to these Spice Girls lyrics. It's a little risque. But they let it fly. And we did a lot of slow dancing to Spice Girls, a lot of fast dancing to like the Men in Black song. That was a big one at the time. So I'll never forget those dances and the smell of that place and everything. And it was good times. And a lot of one-hit wonders playing on those speakers. And speaking of one-hit wonders, we're going to jump into 20 new questions on one-hit wonders and this chat with music lover, with 90s lover, Drew Zakmin. If you like this episode, go check out his show, One Headlight Podcast. It's going to be one of my new favorites, I can already tell. We're going to jump into those questions right now. Here we go. Standing here at the bar in my man cave, in my nerd den. Usually I'm sitting down. I always sit down to record this show, but every once in a while I like to stand, stretch the legs, and set up this microphone in a spot that gets me into a vertical position. And I'm here on a Skype call with my new friend, listener Drew Zakmin. Is that how I say your name?
That's right. You got it.
Very good, man.
That's me. How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you, man. Thanks for messaging me. Thanks for listening to the show. You're on the East Coast. Why don't you start by telling people how you found the show?
Yeah. So I'm the host of the One Headlight 90s podcast, and we're working on a segment for One Hit Wonders. So I'm over on iTunes, and I did a search for One Hit Wonders, and I came across Ryan's wonderful podcast where he had a trivia segment a couple weeks ago, I think maybe like about a month or so ago, about one-hit wonders from the 90s. So I was like, all right. And then I listened to that and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I started listening to a handful of other of your podcasts. Apparently I know a lot about Seattle, so that's good to know.
There you go. Yeah. I knew nothing. Yeah, as I was asked those questions, I knew almost nothing with my friend Jess, who lives kind of up that way. Shout out to her. But that's awesome, man. So you were looking for some content for some kind of some collaboration or corroboration. Is that the right word for your own show? And you kind of stumbled across it, and now we're buddies. That's how it works.
Yeah. That's right.
Very cool. You mentioned you have a daughter who's in soccer. Is that your only kid?
No, we have two. So my oldest, she's 5 and is playing soccer, and my youngest is 2.
Oh, very
just
cool.
Getting over strep throat. So
that's the worst.
Couple days has been fun.
Oh, that stinks. Well, at least it's before it gets super, super cold over there on the East Coast, right? That's always a little bit. It makes it a little bit worse when it's really freezing.
Oh God, yeah. Last winter was brutal with my youngest daughter, but right now we're heading into fall time, so weather-wise it's nice. It's cooling down nice. So hopefully this winter will be a little bit better health-wise than last year, but we'll see.
Very cool. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about the history of your show? I'm guessing the One Headlight refers to the song by who is that? The Wallflowers? Is it the Wallflowers?
You got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how did the show come to be? What kind of makes up each episode of the show? That kind of thing.
Yeah, cool. So I only really started listening to podcasts about a year ago, actually. My wife is a big fan of them, and I was like, I don't want to listen to podcasts, but I have like an hour, 15-minute commute to work, so I was like, I started getting tired of listening to music over and over again. I'm like, let me try something different. So I listened to a podcast, and then I've been hooked ever since. So when I was like, well, if I had a podcast, what would I talk about? I would try to find something that was a bit more unique. I mean, I love sports. There's a lot of sports podcasts out there, though.
Sure.
So I was like, what's something that I'm passionate about, something I really like? And I was like, you know what? I love the 90s. I love grunge music. I love alt music. I love 90s movies. I love Dumb and Dumber.
Sure.
I mean, there's so much about the 90s that I love, and like 90s sports in general. So I was like, I know a lot about that time period. So maybe I'll throw something together for that. So my first episode came out back in, I think it was February. So I had a little bit of a layoff just between like my regular job. It gets a little hectic. So, but I'm back in the swing of things. And so we talk about all kinds of things. My first episode was about Beauty and the Beast. My daughters love Disney. And I was like, if I'm going to sit here and watch these movies with you, I'm going to have my own take on things. So
yeah, that's great, man. I love it. I love how it kind of just came to fruition from stuff that you dig and that commute. I think that's how a lot of people get into podcasts these days. They're stuck somewhere, like they're either flying a lot or traveling or in a car, and they're like, well, I guess I'll check out this, I started listening to podcasts when I was doing a lot of road comedy in the Midwest around 2010, 2009 to 2012-ish. And I'd be driving, from Chicagoland to Wisconsin or South Dakota or Iowa, and you're just on the road a lot. And that's when podcasts first kind of, I think they've been out since the early 2000s, but like in different various forms. But when people really started getting into them and comedians started doing them, the only podcast I listened to was called Comedy and Everything Else with Jimmy Dore and Todd Glass, who are two really funny comics. And then there was one called Comedy and Everything Else. No, that was called Comedy and Everything Else. The other one was called Never Not Funny with Jimmy Pardo. And those were just comedians from Chicagoland that I admired and looked up to, and they had these shows, and I'm like, this is cool. And I didn't even think of doing my own show until years later. And when I started hosting the trivia, it kind of just was like, well, I could do like a trivia show. And I used to do it weekly, and then started doing it twice a week, and now I do it every day. It's like my favorite thing. So I feel like
look forward to every morning we get your updates. I'm like, all right.
Oh, cool.
Let's see how much I know this morning.
Oh, thanks, man. And I think it's cool. It's a perfect show. Like I almost encourage people to skip it. It's since it comes out every day. If there's one where you're like, I don't like Seattle, or whatever, you could just skip that one because it's there's going to be a new one the next day. So I think that kind of creates less friction between me and the audience because they can kind of pick and choose what they want to listen to or quiz themselves on. Or, maybe there's diehard people that listen to all of them and then just try and learn some stuff. So that works out too. Sometimes the questions are not 100% factual, which I've been called out on before. And when you're doing a daily show by yourself, it's not like I have a team of people to double check things. So I'm just going by what the internet says most of the time. But hey, it still makes for a fun show. And I'm so glad you found it, Drew. So thanks for checking it out.
Yeah, me too.
And you were a big fan of these one-hit wonders, and you said, what if we did some more trivia on that? And I said, let's do it. So we're going to do 10 new questions about one-hit wonders from the 90s back and forth. Does that sound fun?
That works.
All right, cool. So I'll kick it off, and we'll jump back and forth. We'll see how many we get. I have a pen here. I can keep like a rough score, and then we'll promote your show at the end, and we'll close it out. But here's question number 1. In the fourth stanza of Natalie Imbruglia's Torn, she says, well, I guess the blank blank's right. Who did she say was right in that song Torn?
Storyteller?
You know what? You're super close. I'm going to give it to you. It's the fortune teller. She goes, I guess the fortune teller's right. That's going to be 1 point. Nice job, Drew. Did you like that song? I used to like that video quite a bit.
I love that song. That's a great one.
It is good. It's weird to think some of these people that seem so talented never had another hit,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing too. So I've been, researching these a lot, and what defines like technically a one-hit wonder is you have to have just one song in the top 40 of the Billboard Hot 100.
Oh, okay.
So there's like a handful of bands like Oasis only technically had one song in the Billboard Hot.
Oh, wow.
In the top 40, but it's like they're a little bit better than that. So there's a few caveats there, but there's a handful of artists where it's like, yeah, they have the one good song, but some of them you just have to listen to them.
I came across an article earlier that said Ben Folds 5 in the song Brick, and I'm like, well, he's still around. He has a lot of songs, but I guess he's just Ben Folds now. He's not Ben Folds 5, right?
Correct, yeah.
So that probably,
if people don't know him like that well, when you hear Ben Folds 5, it's like, oh, Brick, and that's kind of all they know.
That's true too. You're right. All right, question number 1. Let's see if I can answer the first one on your list.
Okay, here we go. Which song charted higher on the Billboard Hot 100? Woot, There It Is, or Whoop, There It Is?
Oh, now I didn't know until probably a year or two ago that these songs weren't the same song, and also that they were by two different artists that came out the same year, right?
The same month, actually.
Oh my God. And so is there a story behind that? There has to be a quick story where like they were just rivals or something, right?
I honestly don't know. I know. So the Woot, I'm not going to say which one came out, or which one charted higher because that's the question, but the Woot came out or at least it charted May 1st, 1993, whereas Whoop charted May 29th, 1993.
Interesting.
Other than like the story, I'm not too sure if they were like rival bands or whatever, but yeah, and it's.
I want to see that. It
doesn't get much closer than that.
I want to see that 10-episode Netflix documentary about Whoop and Whoop. There it is. Just really break it down. I'm going to say that Whoop with an MP in it is the one that charted higher for some reason.
You got it. Yeah. That was by Tag Team. That came in at number 2.
Nice. I feel like people say Whoop like when they're repeating it. I don't see that. Is it Woot? WOOT is the other one.
Yeah, it's like WHOOT, Woot.
Oh, Woot. Got it.
That was by 95 South, and that peaked at number 11.
Interesting.
Which is it's still pretty high up there when you think about it.
I bet you people didn't even realize that it was two different songs. A lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's a T and an MP. That's all that separates them.
Very good. All right, so we both got each other's first questions. Here's number 2 for me towards you. What band had the hit 1995 song "Breakfast at Tiffanys"?
Tiffanys. I know this.
When I saw this, I definitely did not know it. I don't even think I ever heard of it, but I know that song a million times.
I know this too. I'm freezing now. So, Deep Blue Something.
Wow, you got it. Even if you looked it up on your phone, since I can't see you, I'm going to give you that point. That was great.
No. So that was. I have a whole. And this is weird because I literally wrote about 2 pages of notes to talk about Breakfast at Tiffanys. I'm like, why can't I think of the name of this band?
That's hilarious.
For some reason.
Deep Blue Something. Yeah, that song was all over the radio. And have you ever seen the movie Breakfast at Tiffanys?
I have not.
It is, I don't know if it's good. I wouldn't even tell you it's really good, but at least watch some of it or watch the trailer or something because there's some really cool scenes. There's some really weird, there's like a super racist Asian character that's played by like Mickey Rooney or somebody. There's a lot of crazy stuff in it, but it's an interesting, well-shot movie. So check that out. All right, question number 2, what do you got?
Okay, poor Billy Ray Cyrus has a particular condition which was diagnosed as an achy breaky heart. What would happen if you went against his wishes and told his achy breaky heart?
And pull a car? Is that what you said?
No. What would happen if you went against his wishes and told?
Gotcha.
And told his achy breaky heart.
If you, I know, I get what you're trying to do with the lyrics, but I don't know the answer. So I'm gonna say nothing happens.
Kind of the opposite.
Okay.
He might blow up and kill this man.
Is that what he says?
Yeah.
Holy cow!
On my achy breaky heart, he might blow up and kill this man.
Wow. So he admits to that he will murder someone in that song.
How I interpreted this was the heart is going to blow up and actually kill poor Billy Ray. So
kill himself.
Boy,
Got
he does not take bad news lightly.
Yeah, but well, that's how he got that haircut. The barber's like, I did the best I could, and he's like, well, I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Low expectations.
Question number 3. Which of these names is not in the song Mambo Number 5? Ready? Monica, Erica, Jessica, or Lisa? Which one of those 4 names not in the lyrics to Mambo Number 5?
I'm going to say Lisa.
It is Lisa. Good pull. Nice job. I slipped that one in at the end. No Lisa there. And the other 3 are in there along with, I don't know, another dozen names or so. That guy got around. That Lou Bega. Lou Bega? Lou Bega. He dressed like the Mask. He was like a walking. He was crazy. He was missing the mask. He was just a dude with all those crazy like cabana clothes on.
Lou Bega. He knew what he was doing, apparently.
There you go.
At least for that one song.
Number 3.
Okay. What song's music video featured the famous Bumblebee girl?
Ooh, Blind Melon, No Rain.
Nailed it.
I jokingly tell people at trivia nights when I play that song or I have a question about it, I go, hey, this is kind of a weird thing, but I was actually the girl in the Bumblebee costume. This is me grown up. And they never believe me. But I do know I do know that one, No Rain, Blind Melon. Number 4 for you, what is the first word to the Marcy Playground song, Sex and Candy? What is the first lyric?
Is it hanging round?
It is hanging. So I was just looking for that first word, hanging around downtown by myself. You got it. Nice job. I have a friend named Tom Metzger who I had Now One. Remember the Now albums?
Yeah. Oh, God, yes.
Yeah. And the first track, I think, was Sex and Candy, and he borrowed it from me and played it so many times that that track wouldn't play anymore. Remember that used to happen sometimes? Crazy.
Burn it out.
Tom Metzger, you son of a bitch. All right. Number 4.
Okay. Who sang the song?
Ooh, Crash Test Dummies.
Nailed it.
And I only know that because I know the Weird Al song. And it would always, I don't even know the name of the Weird Al song off the top of my head. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I never really listened to Weird Al too much. I don't know why. I feel like I would appreciate his efforts.
Yeah, Weird Al did a parody of that song, and maybe it was called Dum 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 or something. I forget. But I remember just seeing, like in the insert, on the CD, it was like a parody, originally performed by blah, 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 and it tells you the real artist. And that's how I remembered that one. But yeah, he did a video for it and everything. You could look it up. You might get a kick out of it. Here's number 5. A member of House of Pain went on to join a new metal band in the later 90s. What was that guy's name, and what was the band he joined?
Oh, it was he was a DJ in Limp Biskit.
Yes. Do you remember his DJ name?
Was it DJ Lethal?
Yes, you got it. You're 5 for 5. You have not missed one. Nice job. DJ Lethal, Limp Biskit.
Oh God! What's embarrassing now is like I used to actually like enjoy Limp Biskit.
Oh, I still put it on now. There's a few Limp Biskit songs. I think the song Rearranged holds up. I think that's a good song.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's a good song because it's got that big ending. Big crescendo at the end, and in the music video, water poured into this like underground Ninja Turtles type lair they were performing in. But yeah, I like that song. And when I saw Limp Bizkit and Eminem, the Anger Management tour, I think it was 2001, and they had these crazy stage setups and everything. And Limp Bizkit performed, like their set was like a giant transformer, and DJ Lethal was like in the center piece, like the chest piece was like a clear plastic thing, and he was in there, or maybe it was open air, but it was cool. And they all performed like as different parts of this transformer or something. It was neat, especially back then. Yeah. Question number 5 for you towards me.
Okay, here we go. Green Jelly sang about what fabled animals?
Now, Green Jelly, the only song I think I know is the one where they talk about blowing your nose, and that's not the song in question, is it? Is that a different band? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like, she don't use jelly any of these. She uses magazines. Is that Green Jelly? Oh, it's not?
No.
Okay. I thought that was Green Jelly. Green Jelly, and you said that animal-related song?
Yeah, Green Jelly sang about what fabled animals?
Fabled? I'm going to say unicorns?
Nope.
No, what do we got?
3 Little Pigs.
Oh, wow. I definitely know that because I remember it was a claymation music video.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking of. I thought Green Jelly. Do you have any idea who the artist was that had that magazine's Blow Her Nose song?
And it's funny because I was just talking about this with a friend the other day. I know exactly what song you're talking about.
They played on 90210, I remember. And 90210, they had like the Peach Pit, and then like later in the series, they had the Peach Pit After Dark, and it was like a nightclub that they opened on the back of the restaurant. So they would have different bands play in the Peach Pit After Dark, and one of them was the band that, whatever band had that song. And
I think the song is "She Don't Use Jelly." Who the heck?
Oh, so that's what I'm confusing with Green Jelly. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
She Don't Use Jelly.
The Flaming Lips.
Ah, yes, exactly right.
And then they were on Friends. Yep.
Oh, there you go.
90210.
Yeah, very good, man. You're good at pulling that stuff. Here's number 6. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, my buddy actually went to go. He lives out in California, actually, and Green Jelly performed. I want to say he lives like near, like Newport Beach, around that area, and he was at like some show, and Green Jelly was actually performing. I was like, "Are you serious?" I didn't know they were still around. And
your buddy is Luke Perry. That's right.
That's right.
Your buddy Luke. Number 6. Number 6. What year did the new Radicals, You Get What You Give, come out? What year was that?
New Radicals.
Get What You Give. People tell me they hate when I ask year questions because they're too hard and not fun to guess, but I like them.
It was the latter part of the decade. I don't think it was 99. It was either 97 or 98.
Oh, you're close.
I am going to go with, I feel like 97.
It's 98. You were so close. That's the only one you've missed, and I'm going to say you still kind of got it because you still said it and you were very close. So 1998, I was in 7th grade, I think, 6th grade. And, and I was, what was I doing? I was trying to get my mom to let me play cornet in the school band, and I brought home the permission form or whatever, and it had the price on it to buy the cornet, and they said it was like $1,800, and my mom's like, "Oh, I'll buy you a kazoo," and she ripped up that form in front of me. I'll never forget it.
That's an expensive cornet.
Yeah. She goes, "You want to be in the band? I'll get you a kazoo." Like a real, like just like a real mean mom. But hey, I can't play anything to this day, so it probably would have been a waste of money. Here is another song about no, it's your turn. You have a question.
Yep, I got one for you.
Yep.
Which artist performed the song Epic?
Epic. I don't know the song, so I definitely don't know the artist. I'm going to say Nada Surf.
No, I'll give you a hint. It was 1990.
Epic.
If that helps at all.
Is it like a dance song? How does it go?
Nope. No, it's these guys actually were. Some people blame them for kind of starting like the rap rock or rap metal. Oh, really? I have no idea. Yeah. Who is it? Faith No More. Oh, yes. Okay. I've heard of them. I wouldn't know that song though, probably. Crazy video. Had like the goldfish at the end, and it was nuts. There you go. I'm learning new stuff. I'm glad we're redoing some one-hit wonders from the 90s. Here's number 7. What instrument gets its own solo in the song Tubhumping by Chumbawamba? Oh, boy. Drew's trying to figure it out. He loves the 90s. It's his favorite thing. Is it a trumpet? It is a trumpet. Yeah. They're saying like pissing the night away? Yeah, it's like wah, wah, wah. Yeah. It gets a big solo towards the end there, and gets people drinking even more with all those drinking lyrics. So that song still comes on in bars, which is crazy. Question 7. I don't mind that song. That's all right. Yeah, it's not too bad. Number 7. Okay. What artist, whose name also coincides with an early morning occupation, wrote a song called Diddy? What artist with an early morning occupation sounding thing had a song called Diddy? Yep. Everlast. And it's spelled D-I-T-T-Y, not to be confused with P. Diddy. P. Diddy, okay. So the song's called Ditty, and it is a early morning thing. I have no idea. Also a video game. Also a video game. Like a late 80s, early 90s video game. My guess is Revolution X, the Aerosmith shooting arcade game. Is that right? In some way? No. Okay. Close. Yeah. Close. Paperboy. Oh, wait, Paperboy was the name of the band? Or artist, or rapper guy. Gotcha. It was just the one guy, I think. Gotcha. Okay.
Well, not. See, I'm learning stuff every other question here. Nice job. Now, you talked about this band and song earlier, but let's see if you remember. Number 8, singer Shannon Hoon's high-pitched singing fills what 1992 one-hit wonder track?
No Rain from Blind Melon.
That's right. No Rain, lead singer Shannon Hoon. That's a fella, right? That's not a lady.
That's a guy, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 8 on your side?
Okay. What do I have? Okay. Which of these places is Right Said Fred not too sexy for? Japan, Shanghai, New York, Milan.
Shanghai.
Got it.
Yeah. I could definitely hear the 3 other ones, and that was good. That was like the Mambo number 5 question.
Yeah.
We were thinking the same thing. Good stuff. Number 9, Harvey Dangers' Flagpole Sitta makes up the theme song for what 9-season British comedy? This is like my favorite show of all time.
Oh, jeez.
It's on Netflix, or it's not on Netflix anymore, but it's all on Hulu. It ended its 9th season 2 years ago. It started in like 2002 or 3. Each season's only 6 episodes, so there's not that many episodes of it. But Flagpole Sitta, after like the first season, was the theme song for this show. Pretty inside question.
I honestly have no idea. I'm going to say the British Office.
That's not a bad guess. It's Peep Show. Have you ever heard it or seen that show?
No.
It's a great show. I recommend everybody watches it. I talk about it on the podcast all the time. Peep Show. It's just like an Odd Couple type scenario where these like a degenerate and like a guy who kind of has his life together are roommates, and but it's kind of like a point of view style show, so you hear their inner thoughts quite a bit. It's just a really funny show. It's one of the shows that I could watch over and over and over again and still laugh at the same episodes and stuff. So that is that song.
You have to check that out.
There we go. We got a couple more questions each. I have one more for you. You have 2 more left for me. Here's number 9 on your list.
Yep, coming your way. While Hathaway answered the age-old question of what is love, Saigon Kick let us know where love was. Where was it?
Where is love? Down deep. Is it down deep?
Nope.
Nope. Where is it at?
Love is on the way.
Love is on the way. I
love Saigon Kick.
I feel like I've definitely heard that song. I'm sure I've heard it, right?
Yeah, I feel like if you heard it, you'd be like, yep. Yeah, that was like an early 90s. They were like kind of like at the end of like the hair metal, but they also were kind of like heavy, and some of their sound was almost like grungish, but not as grungy. They're very good though. I love that band.
Saigon Kick. I'll have to add them to some playlists to play during trivia nights. Here's my last question for you. Number 10. The Verve's Bittersweet Symphony was used in what tragic comedy romance from the late 90s?
Cruel Intentions.
Nice job. Do you like that movie? It's my wife's favorite movie.
I love that movie. I love that song. That whole album is fantastic.
Very good. They have some. Are you talking about the Cruel Intentions soundtrack? Or are you talking about the album for the Verve's Bittersweet Symphony?
Well, the Verve's album, Urban Hymns, is very good, but the Cruel Intentions soundtrack is also very good. There's a lot of good songs on there.
A lot of Saigon Kick on there.
No Saigon Kick. It has Counting Crows.
Yeah.
So if you have Counting Crows on there, you're pretty legit.
It's fun when you look at older movies and the soundtracks they were trying to sell, and it's like end of days soundtracks like Our Lady Peace, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Well, good stuff, man. That was 10. You got one more question for me, right?
I have one more for you. So It also kind of piggybacks on one of the songs that you talked about before. So what famous 90s artist was not named in the New Radicals hit song You Get What You Give? Beck, Marilyn Manson, Trent Reznor, Courtney Love.
Courtney Love and Marilyn Manson. And then I think, so those were in there. And then Trent Reznor, I feel like, was in there. What was the first one?
Beck.
I'm going to say Beck is not in there.
Nope.
So Beck is in there.
Beck is in there, yeah.
And so Marilyn Manson and Courtney Love. So Trent Reznor not in there.
Yeah, so I think it goes fashion shoots with Beck and Hanson, Courtney Love and Marilyn Manson. You're all fakes, Frontier Mansions, come around, we'll kick your ass in. Which is hilarious. Like, have you ever seen the guy? He doesn't look like he's that tough.
No, he's wearing one of those fisherman hats, and he's running around a mall in khakis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I don't think you can talk trash if you're rapping like Eminem, but I don't think you can talk trash in a pop song. I don't think that's possible.
I can't wait for the 30 years later celebrity boxing match between Beck and the guy from the New Radicals. That'll be great.
I would love to watch that.
Awesome, man. Drew, those were great questions. You got, I think,
likewise.
Every single question except the Peep Show one, which was very hard, and then the 98, you said 97, but you were awfully close, and I missed about half of yours. So good stuff. Hopefully people had fun playing along with more one-hit wonder questions from the 90s. Why don't you plug your show and tell people where they can listen to it and find it?
Yeah, sure. Yep. So, as always, my podcast can be found on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. We are the One Headlight 90s podcast. I'm also on Twitter at 1HL Podcast. Usually I try to post old nostalgic tweets, things like that. Right now we're kind of wrapping up. We're talking about 1990s baseball, and then right after that we're getting into one-hit wonders from the 90s. I'm going to talk about that pretty in-depth. Also going into two-hit wonders, movie soundtracks, so a lot of music topics coming up. So check us out. Subscribe on any of those, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. And, reach out to me on Twitter if you ever want to talk 90s.
Love it, dude. Drew, thanks for reaching out to me. Thanks for listening to the show, and I'm definitely going to check yours out in the near future. Have a great rest of your day, dude.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Ryan. Appreciate it.
All right, take it easy. Boom. There it is. A nice fun call with Drew, my new buddy from the East Coast. Drew, thanks for doing the show. And if you like Drew, check out his show as soon as you can. Subscribe to it for new episodes, One Headlight Podcast. How'd you do on those 20 new 90s one-hit wonder trivia questions? Drew had some great ones, and he only missed one question. So it's crazy. It was crazy stuff, and he knew most of it. So nice job, Drew. Thank you for listening to this show. If you are brand new, keep listening. Subscribe for new episodes every single day. And if you have been listening for a while, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for telling a friend. Thanks for spreading the word about the show. Thanks for the iTunes reviews. We're up to 101 of those. And especially thank you to my Patreon subscribers, the likes of which are named Gary Moore, Manny Majarian, Alexis Eck, Earl Clark, Alex DeSmet, Sarah McKevitz, Simon Time, Jess Whitener, Jen Wojnar, Kyle Bonin, Douglas French, Erica Cooper, Fiona Neville, Scott Buds the Scorpion, Brenda Martinez, Russ Friedewald, Wreck My Podcast, and KC Becker. You guys rock. I sincerely appreciate your patronage. And get ready, because September's almost over. And October, we're sending out some spooky rewards that you're just going to love and parade around your house with excitement when they come in the mail. So get ready for that. Remember, for $5 or more a month, you get to pick a topic that I'm guaranteed to do within the month on the show. You get shout outs and thank yous like the one we just did. And you get an official pin from The Office. And by official, I mean my friend drew it. My friend Drew A. Blank is a great artist. He drew this Kevin about to spill chili in a big pot from The Office. And for $5, you can get that pin in addition to your regular $5 monthly rewards. So it's only for the next 4 people. My friend Luke cashed in the first one from Australia. Shout out to Luke, who's a brand new listener. And if you want that pin and you want to pick an episode topic, just go to patreon.com/trivia with buds. Throw a few bucks, 5 to be exact, or more, and get that pin. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for checking out Drew's show, One Headlight Podcast. And we'll see you tomorrow for more trivia with buds. Cheers.